Hello there, world of tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be playing in the FE2M7 Badger. This is a Tier 10 British Collector tank destroyer, and as you read in the title, this vehicle features what I consider to be one of the most annoying guns in the game. Why? Well, it's got great DPM, you might say. With gun rammer, you're sitting upwards of 3,800. I'm going to be running calibrated because next update, calibrated shells is getting a massive buff, and I'd much rather get used to it on this vehicle. The tank has alright aiming time at 3.6 seconds. The problem is it's on movement dispersion, and it's getting even worse. You see, next update Wargaming is taking away a bit of V-stab capabilities. So currently V-stabs does about 15% of your on-move dispersion. What that means is when you move the gun barrel or you traverse the tank, your dispersion is going to get worse. You know, there's a lot of people that think just because a tank doesn't have a turret doesn't mean it has on-movement dispersion values, but that's not the case at all. You're still turning the tank, and that causes the gun to bloom. So V-stabs is incredibly important to run on certain tank destroyers, and the Badger has literally 0.26 on move. Just to put into your mind how bad that is, the Beauchâtillon Avenir, which Fatness and I both complained about its on-move values on, has 0.2 on move. So the Badger has an additional 30% worse on move than a tank that already has really bad on move. That's awful. It really is. I mean, you can see how much this gun blooms the moment you turn the tank. Next update, V-stabs is losing 3% of its effectiveness, which for the Badger is going to hurt quite a bit. But calibrated shells is gaining overall penetration for heat, which is why I am going to be loading Cali on this vehicle from now on, because it's going to be insane driving a Badger with 420 mils of premium penetration. So kind of back and forth, but I still think the Badger is an incredibly dangerous tank. I mean, it has a lot of health. 2,240 hit points for a tank destroyer is quite impressive. And when you pair that with the fact we still have 3,400 DPM, the fact that our tank has really, really solid armor for the most part, and obviously you're going to be sitting quite strong in this Tonkaroonie. So the 113 has managed to back up because for some reason Wargaming allows that tank to reverse at like 20 kilometers per hour. You know, that makes sense. Not much I can really do to counter it, but we do have the Contra Cara over here, which we're going to aim in on, and there you go. Nice shot once into his tank. And let's put on our adrenaline. However, no, we're not able to get that shell out. But, well, I was going to say it doesn't matter, but we're not actually able to get the additional shell out into the enemy there. Okay, well, let's move up a bit. Let's see if we can indeed get the finishing shell into this Contra Cara. Do you see how long we have to aim in, though? I mean, it doesn't matter how much DPM you have in this tank if you're trying to aim in on this enemy, and it literally takes you 18 years. We're going to load a high explosive shell into the side of his vehicular, and there you go. He is done. Okay, well, that's pretty good stuff. We have the BZ-75 in front of us here. Again, look at that aiming time. It is so atrocious. It is seriously a huge issue for this tank. I also cannot believe that the BZ penned us and rolled 740, and then the 121 pens us in the rear. Oh, there you go. We bounce the enemy WZ due to the on-movement dispersion. Remember I said this is a very unenjoyable tank to drive in certain situations? Well, that right there is one of those certain situations. I mean, this gun, as I said, cannot hit shots to save the life of it. It just misses everything. And it can be a very, very unenjoyable experience quite commonly. But we still did do 2,875 damage. And even though this WZ is probably going to kill me... Oh, nope, you're going to mess up the shot and let me get the kill. Big stinking L, bro. You could have done 600 damage to that STB, but instead you tried to tunnel a tank with 200 health and failed. Well, that's solid. We were able to get 3k because of that. We blocked over 1,000 damage, and we did pretty solid. But just in that game there, you already witnessed why this gun is really annoying. Wargaming nerfed the dispersion on this vehicle for no reason, and it now sits at 0.34. Which is not very accurate. It's not awful. You know, if you're in like a Soviet heavy, that's okay. But this isn't a Soviet heavy that can just sit there exposing its armor to get out a shot. And while the Badger does have very good armor, it is still pretty HE, like, bad. Like, you can HE this tank anywhere on the hull, and you'll deal upwards of like 200 for some reason. And the lower plate is huge. The sides are pretty weak, so, yeah. I don't know. Personally, I've been liking the 263 a lot more than the Badger lately, just because of the fact that 263 has much better aiming time, and it means that you can just get out more shots. And when you pair that with the fact that 263 just has more DPM as well, I don't know. I kind of like the 263, but I still do like the Badger. I mean, that first game wasn't the worst result. It wasn't the best result either. Ideally, you want to drive this tank in a position where you can sit hull down, you can absolutely farm, or you can get into a face hug and use your DPM advantage over your opponent. But both games, or the first game we played, I don't know why my brain went to both, but the first game we played, we really were not able to use our DPM at all. So, little unfortunate. I do like the alpha damage of this tank, though. 460 is pretty nice. It still hits hard, but it's not too high where you have to wait a long time for your reload to come back. The Sheridan is running, and he's getting pretty bonkered, but so is our teammates as well, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see. The Badger isn't the slowest tank. Like, a lot of people think the Badger's slow, but it's actually not. That was just a really lucky snap into the enemy Jagdpanzer there. Alright, well, I will take it. As I said, this tank is not known for its snapping potential in that regard. We're going to over-angle the sides, and the BZ bounces me. Not really sure what his thought process was there, but clearly not very well thought out. Let's aim it on the BZ. That shell actually went into his upper plate. Thankfully, this tank has a lot of pen, so we were able to cut right through. Let's aim another shell onto that BZ. And there you go. That's 2,000 damage dealt already. So, in that regard, we just farmed an insane amount of damage very quickly. And that's what the Badger's great at. It's just great at getting out quick damage. You wait for somebody to drive in front of you where you can punish them, and that's what you do. So we're going to drive over to the side of this E100 now, and, oh, we actually have the Sheridan in the back. Oh my rats. Wow, that E100 has an IQ of about 10. Dude's literally just sitting in the open getting lit on fire constantly. Pretty sad. Alright, well, let's move up. Don't know if we're going to be able to get any more damage out. This is, again, a great example of what happens when your team's a steamroll and you're driving a vehicle that's not that fast. You just don't get much damage out. That's exactly what happens here. But we do have the 263 right in front of us, and we got one pen into the 263. He bounced me, so we're going to aim in again. I don't really care if the T-22 shoots me, to be honest, because we're just going to aim in. Oh, and the T-22 got ammo racked. Well, guess it doesn't matter. We've dealt 2,800 damage, and it's literally just another insta-steamroll. We had no opportunity at all to deal damage in this game. I mean, wow. That was a steamroll and a half. I don't personally love games like that. It feels like I'm almost struggling to get out damage. I have to hold the W key the entire game, and I'm literally just picking for scraps at that point. Like, look at the whole team. 2,000, 2,300, 27, 28, 3K. So basically everybody on that team did good. I personally hate getting into games like that because it's literally just a struggle. From the start, you are driving a tank that is slower than the rest of the team, and you're just trying as fast as you can to get out damage when everybody else is just already there before you. So, oh well. Our M6 show is driving a vehicle with 10 degrees of gun depression to a flat part of the map. Always good to see. I don't understand that. Like, how do you drive a tank that has gun depression and then you drive it to a part of the map that is so flat that, like, I just don't get it. Alright, well, we are heading up the hill because going up the hill is the most important thing to do on any map that has one. Oh, yep, just sit right in front of me, Fosh, you know. Just stop randomly for no reason when I'm behind you. Okay, well, we got the STB, the Leopard. See, I don't get too mad if people stop in front of me unless I'm in, like, a slow tank, because my whole job is to just get up in the front line. Yep, another tank getting in front of me here. But, my whole job is to get into the front line. And if I can't get into the front line in this tank, then I'm really not doing anything. So, yeah, we're just going to move up here. We're going to make it to this STB. It really has no capabilities whatsoever. We got one shell into his tank. And, yeah, what are you going to do? You might have good pen, but I hate to tell you, but that good pen isn't going to do too much to me. Of course, he max rolls me, because that's my life, but he gone. Now we got the Leopard over here, which we actually are able to snap a shell into. Quite nice. We do have a 62 up top, which is good. Okay, well, Sheridan's going to be over there. Oh, we got some heavies off to our side here. Okay, well, as much as I'd love to be able to hit those heavies, at the same time, I really can't. Alright, let's just aim it on the IS-4. 380 nice heat shell into his tank. Looks like the rest of the enemy team has turned around at this point. We can't hesh the IS-4 at all, but I will take a 455 shot into his tank. Pretty good stuff. This is where the DPM on this vehicle does feel quite nice. I mean, we're just ripping out shells into our opponents pretty dang easily. 268 gets bonked and makes a pretty bad play if you ask me. We are going to start moving up. I see the 57 Heavy right in mid. I don't know where the 60 TP is. Oh, there he is. All right, let's aim it on the 60. Let's angle the hull out so he has a hard time penning me. There you go. Beautiful. This tank is surprisingly good against like 60s and things that don't have much accuracy because they usually miss your lower plate. That's really, really good, obviously, for a tank like this. We have that Sheridan in the back. We get one nice shell into the Sheridan. We go into the wall, which makes it very hard for the Sheridan to pen me. 60 TP bounces me. We get a pen into his vehicle with our adrenaline on here. And I don't think this player is enjoying our company all too much. We get the clear into the 60. Yeah, this is where the Badger feels quite insane. You can see the difference of when you're struggling to get out damage and when you're actually able to sit frontline and just pound the enemy. And that's what we did there. We got into the front. We were able to get out some damage. We still didn't do that much, to be fair. I mean, 3,800 is a decent result, and we blocked 1,750, which is pretty good. But we really didn't get a true farm. If that game had lasted a little longer and our team wasn't as good as they were, again, we could have easily been able to deal upwards of like 4 to 5k plus. So the Badger is a strong tank. It's still one of the highest performing tier 10s in the game, and that's very unsurprising to me. It's got a lot of HP, a lot of DPM, solid mobility for how heavily armored it is, great gun depression. The only thing that I hate about it is the gun. It misses so many shots that it shouldn't, and some games you play, missing that shot can absolutely ruin your game. I mean, while you have so much DPM, if you're only hitting 70% of the shots you shoot, yeah, technically you could just drive a super conk and you'll have pretty similar DPM at that point with more hit points, better armor, and a turret. So, I don't know. I love the Badger when it works. I absolutely hate it when it doesn't work. Let me know what you guys think in the comments of this vehicle. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.